Hey everyone, welcome back to day 4 of Vlogmas. Today I am going to be doing my November wrap-up. I read about 6 books this month. The first book that I finished, I read like the last 100 or so pages, and I don't have my own copy of it because I did check it out from the library, and that was Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. This was my second book that I read by Rainbow Rowell, the other one being Eleanor and Park, which I read that a couple of months ago. And I liked it. It did live up to its hype because there is a lot of hype around this book. This book is about a girl named Kath who is a fangirl at heart, and then when she and her sister go to college, her and her sister go separate ways. Her sister prefers to live up to the college life and party around, while Kath, the main character, prefers to stay in her dorm room and write fan fiction for her favorite series. Her favorite series is Simon Snow, which is the same equivalent to Harry Potter in a way. And this was a very funny book. I feel like that's the way with most Rainbow Rowell books. Is what I'm hearing is that she writes really funny books. It is a very relatable book in a sense because it is like for fangirls or fanboys who are like big hardcore fans for any fandom. I thought the first 100 or so pages were a bit slow and a bit boring, but that was just because we're being introduced to the characters in the story and seeing who's the character. We're just seeing who the characters in the stories are and where the story is leading, and that's kind of understandable. But the pacing of the story was a bit slow until like the middle and towards the end of the book it got picked up a lot, and then the story got better in the end. I did relate to Kath in a sense, basically because of her family. There was some certain issues that she had with her family, and I kind of relate to that in a lot of sense. Not because of what happens, but just the things that she had to deal with and how much of an introvert she is, because Lord knows I am like that. So I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read, I also checked out from the library, but I listened to the audiobook rather than reading the book because I do have it on my e-reader, is Cress by Marissa Meyer. This book is my second favorite book of the month. I'll get to my first favorite later, but this was my second favorite of the month because, oh my gosh, Cress was amazing. Cress is the third book in the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. She writes retellings of the Lunar Chronicles. Is basically fairy tale retellings set in the future, and it's a for sure sci-fi book genre that I think everybody should read because they are fantastic. And Cress is Cress is the most popular book in the series, and oh my gosh, it's lived up to its hype because it is like, there was just so much that went on in this book that I could not believe that were happening. And as I was listening to it, it was super intense and enjoyable to listen to. And I just, oh my gosh, so much intense, so much romance, and so much fun listening to this book. And I loved it so much. I don't have my own copy of Winter yet, which was released at the beginning of last month. But I do hope I can get it for Christmas so that way I can read through Winter and see what happens in the end. Because Winter is the 4th and final book of the series, and I just, oh my gosh. And I said a lot of my thoughts about the narrator, Rebecca Solar, in my Top 5 Wednesday video, so if you want to go hear my thoughts about the narrator, go check it out on that video. Next video that I read in the month of November was Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This is a simple reread for me. I was trying to prep and read both Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince before Harry Christmas to You started, which is started this month. I'll explain more in my December TBR. But I was trying to get through Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince because those are like, this and Half-Blood Prince are like two of the biggest books in the series, and yeah, not much to say other than it's a fantastic, fantastic book to read, and if you haven't read the Harry Potter series, how dare you? So, and I obviously gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. No thoughts. I think we all know by now how amazing Harry Potter is, and read it. Next book that I read that was for sure my number one favorite of the month, and definitely makes it in my top 5, my top favorites, and it definitely makes it into my top favorites of 2015, and that is The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I did a book review for this book, so I'm not really going to say much of my thoughts and opinions about it because I will be uploading it either sometime this weekend or on Monday, and you guys can hear all my thoughts and opinions about it, but this book has lived up to its hype. I was quite nervous going into reading it because one of my favorite YouTubers, Kat from Katie Tastic, gave this book a 2 out of 5 stars. And normally I trust my opinion when it comes to Kat and what books that I should like. I listen to her the most on opinions and recommendations, and when she gave this a 2 out of 5 stars, I got concerned because I really wanted to read this book, and I hopefully didn't want it to I was hoping it didn't sound as bad as she made it to be. Like, I understood why she put it a 2 out of 5 stars, but I loved it so much. This was a very great book. Really great debut novel. I'll put the link to the Goodreads page down below so you guys can see what this book is about, because it does have a very complex plot to it, and the synopsis to it that I just can't simply explain to you explain it to you guys, and I tried to do that in my review and it kind of sucked at it, but yeah, it's a very great sci-fi fantasy. It doesn't really have like a certain genre in, but it's a very fantastic book to read. Oh my gosh, love this book so much. And the next book that I read this month was The Last Olympian by Rick Riordan. This is the final book to the Percy Jackson series. This was a fantastic way to end the Percy Jackson series. I loved it. Like, right out of the gates, in like the first few pages of the books, there was already so much action involved, and it was really good to see how the story was going to resolve, and it was a very fantastic way of ending. Yeah, this was very good, and I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. And then the last book that I read in November was Seriously, I'm Kidding by Ellen DeGeneres. I listened to this on overdrive, and I managed to finish it in one day because the audiobook is only like 3 hours long, and it was a good audiobook, and I really liked it. But I knew if I was like, the only thing I really have to complain about is that the chapters were extremely like short, and like I know Ellen was trying to be like funny about it, like making them short and whatnot, but I really didn't think it was necessary for her to do that, even though like I wanted her to see what she was going to talk about, her life, her marriage and whatnot. Like, I was hoping it would just be a proper book, which I couldn't really think that was going to happen because it is Ellen DeGeneres and she is very funny, and I really did love that book, really did love listening to the audiobook. I just thought the chapters could have been longer, and like I really think the chapters should have been like a little bit longer and like maybe taken a little bit more serious in a sense, just so it was like, I don't know, maybe I just didn't like the structure of how the chapters were or something, because I didn't like how short they were, and there were like so many chapters involved. Like, even though I was listening to the audiobook, there was like so many chapters involved. Like, really, it didn't really need that much chapters for this book. Like, even though it's a memoir and whatnot, I don't know, I'm like complaining, I'm like being extremely nitpicky about how the length of the chapters, but it was overall a really great book to listen to. It's very short, so in case you're doing like stuff around the house or going on a road trip, this book is like a good, will kill you like 3 hours to listen to. It's a very good audiobook. Ellen DeGeneres did narrate it, and I thought she was very funny when she narrated this book, and yeah, I really liked it and enjoyed it, and I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. Okay, so that is it for this video. Let me know what you read this month and what was your favorite book of the month. Mine for sure is The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I cannot wait for the sequel to come out, which isn't coming out in February. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And follow me on my other social media, links down below. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great morning, noon, or night. Goodbye!